Let's do this shindig. Let's talk about the new card. How you doing? Hello everybody, welcome back to the Educated Colin Snap channel. Today we're going to be going over the data mines for October. I believe tomorrow we're going to do November as well. But we're just going to cover things. A lot of people in the comments were like, hey Collins, can you go over the November stuff so that I can plan, so I can really prepare, and I want to do that for you, so let's get to it. All right, let's get started. So first thing we have is the season pass image. We do have that for October. So it is showing Elsa Bloodstone. That will be the featured card, the season pass card. Looks very interesting that we have Blade, Ghost Rider, and very dark hunter aspect. If that's your style, feel free. So that's just it. But the most important is we're really going to address the new cards in October, and then we're also going to address the spotlights. So those are the things that people have been asking me for now, just like how to plan around it. I'm not really going to do a dedicated video for those right now because things can change, and also more information, more clarification, things like that can definitely adjust it. I don't want to have it be done too far in advance, right? But let's talk about the new cards and all that fun stuff. So first off, we do have Elsa Bloodstone itself. It's currently a 2/2 with the if you play another card to fill a location, give it +3 power. So essentially, you play this, and if you're gonna play another card to fill a location, bam, it gets +3. If and you could do that 3 times for each location. So essentially, if you fill the board, that's a +9 total, so this becomes a 211. However, there are some synergies that can be utilized. The most egregious one, of course, is Kitty, right? So you play this, Kitty's your 4th card, you play this, it triggers the buff, you'll get it. The next year you can do it over and do it over and do it over again, have a huge Kitty. But any move card also takes advantage of this. So let's say you play Nightcrawler here gets a +3 power, Vision here gets a +3 power. Any move card can really take advantage of it. So this can be a very, very powerful engine as it currently stands. And I would argue that this is too strong, to be fair. But, you know, as we've seen with Loki, they're not shying away from making the season cards broken and then adjusting after people have already spent their money. Anyways, but yeah, I do think in its current iteration, it's a really powerful card that will probably see some changes. This is why I don't want to make a video about this card right now. I'm fully expecting some adjustments in before it gets released. So it's still good to talk about, to be aware of these things, to plan ahead. I'm just like not making a dedicated video until we're much closer in. But yeah, it looks really strong, looks very reliable to be a combo engine if you are going to play this. It doesn't work with cards like Brood, right? Brood won't trigger. So if you're summoning extra cards, that's not going to trigger the effect. That would be absolutely bonkers. But still has a lot of good synergies and looks to be a very powerful card if it releases in this same state. Next up, we have Black Knight. So Black Knight is a 1 energy 2 power card. This used to be when this card is destroyed or discarded, draw a card. That used to be its old effect. They changed it. Now it's after you discard a card, add an ebony blade to your hand with this card's power, and that's once per game. So if you discard a card, you get a blade with the power of the card that was discarded. So let's say best case scenario, you discard Infinite, right? That's currently best case scenario. That means you're going to get the Ebony Blade. That's a 420, right? So you get to play this down on turn 4, 20 power right off the gate. Plus, you can still utilize that discarded card with Hela, with Ghost Rider. So let's say Mobius doesn't exist in the game, and you can actually play a Zabu deck without ripping your hair out. And turn 6, you can do something like play Ebony Blade and play Ghost Rider, summon the Infinite back. That's a 43 power swing on that final turn. super super strong potential. However, big downside in my opinion is it's a combo card. You need other cards for this card to look good, and combo cards inherently have less viability unless it's easy to play combos like Loki, where Loki just synergizes with you having cards in your head, right? Like combo card, but you just need cards in your head. It's not specific discard pieces that you're going to need with something like a Black Knight. So even though the potential here is high, and I think this card is super fun looking, right? There's like in a lot of cases, this is a Dracula like with more effort. You have to do more effort to get the Dracula effect, but you can like there are some fancy things, and it does have some appealing cases comparatively to just Dracula. But that's my take currently on it right now. It looks really cool. It has a lot of potential, but is it worth the effort? And Mobius is going to reduce the chance of you doing some fancy double 4-drop plays, things like that. So still looks good, still looks cool, right? If you play it early though, Shang-Chi is there. That so let's say you play the 420 early, you just get Shang-Chi, and it's like so there are some downsides, but still looks like a pretty cool card. Definitely interesting and cool design, so I don't mind it. Just wanted to talk about it all. And then next up, we do have Werewolf by Night. So this card is pretty cool. It's a 3/3. So it's a 3 cost. I'm thinking Surfer. Does it work in Surfer? It absolutely does, right? But its ability is if you play an on reveal card at another location, you move there and you gain +2 power. So you place on 3, and then hopefully your turn 4, your turn 5 to your turn 6 are playing on reveals. Now keep in mind you can play a 1 cost on reveal, right? You could squeeze in a 1 cost on reveal. So this can be way more than a 3/9, right? Which is if you play on reveal the following turns, you can play more than 1 on reveal per turn, guys, right? So this card could be a 3/11, 3/13. If you're really indexing on this could be a very powerful combo piece. However, in a lot of cases, let's just say you're building normally and you play 3 on reveals after. That's a 3/9, still very good. A lot of the powerful 3 drops are 3/7, 3/8 maybe, right? 3/9 is really where you're getting into like very powerful, scary territories, and Werewolf can do that. Now you have to be careful, make sure this card can move there, so you don't want to like completely lock down a lane that you want this to move. But with careful planning, this could be a very powerful 3-cost engine for you. So looks good, fits into Surfer decks pretty easily, and has this high potential that can be easily utilized since a lot of cards are on reveal by design. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Cool looking card. Definitely one that should see play once it comes out. So I'm not too worried about it at all. And next up, we have arguably the most interesting card here in Nico Minoru, I assume. On reveal, after you play your next card, you cast a spell. What's a spell, you ask? The spell changes each turn. So, very unique card effect. Yes, we're going to get through the spells, right? So, here we do have a list of some of the spells. Well, we have all the spells, right? But we have a list of the spells. So, we have, after you play your next card, it becomes a demon. The demon is a 1/6. That demon from the hood, that's what it is. Your next card becomes the 1/6. After you play your next card, you destroy it, and then you draw 2 cards. So the ability to draw in this is pretty powerful. You have, after you play your next card, move it 1 location to the right. So it's essentially like a Ghost Spider-esque, where you just move a card to the right lane. Could be useful in some scenarios. Next one, we have, after you play your next card, you give the next card +2 power. So this becomes a 1/4. In essence, unless you have synergy, it could be even better, but essentially a 1/4. Then you have next one. After you play your next card, you replace that card's location. So your next card gets the Scarlet Witch effect. So that's something interesting, some flexibility, pretty cool. And then the next one, after you play your next card, you add a copy of it to your hand. So let's say you're playing a 2-drop, like you're playing Jeff, you get another Jeff in your hand. seems pretty cool. Has some good potentials. Getting multiple copies of a card can be really strong. And the last one we have is after you play your next card, you double this card's power. So it's not the same as you give the next card +2 power. You're giving this card +2 power. You're giving Nico herself +2 power. Unless it has more than 2 power base somehow, like maybe you play into Shuri's Lab or something, right? But generally, there's 7 different effects, and the spell changes each turn. Now, I want to say that this description of the ability is not clear. It's not clear exactly how it functions. Does this mean if you play Nico on 1, next turn the spell is changing, or does it mean that if you play Nico on 1, that's it, the spell's locked, now you know what's coming up, right? Because that's a big distinction in terms of whether you know exactly or your opponent knows exactly what's about to happen, right? If you know what's about to happen and your opponent doesn't, like, the spell changes and it doesn't tell you, or it doesn't tell your opponent, then you can do a lot of strategies with that. However, if both you and your opponent know exactly what spell's about to play, then it's a lot easier to play around and counterplay their strategy. So there is some clarification in what's going on. Do you have to hold it in your hand for you to get the spell that you want, or can you play it down, wait until the spell triggers that you like, and then go for it? So don't really know. I mean, you can't really play it, like, let's say you play it on 1 and it switches to a spell you don't want, like the destroy effect, right? Do you not play a card on 2? No, you still play a card on 2. So you can't really play this and then wait. Like, you can't wait. Like, the abilities aren't that game changing that you can wait a turn, skip turn 3, so you can hit the spell that you want on turn 4. So usually you're just gonna have to wait and have it in your hand until you really need it. So definitely an interesting card. I don't know if it's going to be good, to be fair, just because it's too RNG. I will say most of the effects are positive, and a lot of times will be like a 1/4, right, or better, right? A demon, right? If you're playing it into a 1 drop, that's better than a 1/4. Doubling the ability +2 power can easily be better than 1/4. Add a copy can easily be better than a 1/4. So there's definitely some potential of just having this and saying, oh, regardless of the spell, it's going to be good value, and my deck is about good value. So there's definitely people going to be playing it just for that reason. But in terms of consistency, I do think that will be rather hard. And also, we do need some clarification. Right now, it's too soon. They don't really talk about cards this far out in release, especially because they are willing to change things. We've seen with a lot of their previous cards, they do change and adjust, like Legion got buffed, things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were some adjustments here, but it is a very interesting card, and I definitely think some people are going to try it just to, play with the spells and see how that feels. And then the last one we have is Man Thing. So I actually think this is probably the best card, in my opinion, of the 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 5. Just the ongoing is really strong. 1, 2, and 3 cost cards have -2 power. That just seems very effective. A lot of people do tend to play early game, right? And being able to hit 2 cards -4 power is very, very strong and very, very effective. Things like Silver Surfer will hate this card. And it also triggers, I assume, Abomination in high evolutionary decks, right? So this is something that people aren't really utilizing right now. People aren't really playing Abomination with high evolutionary decks. It's really fallen out of favor. Hulk has really been the key champion, but this is something that can be a very good activator for the Abominations, make them pretty cheap that you do want to play it. So I actually think there are some synergies, and regardless, this is in a lot of cases a 4/7, a 4/9. Pretty good value with some upside. It does mess with things like Iron Man, like that people are trying to do. So I actually think this card is going to be really powerful. Not crazy powerful, but it's a card that doesn't rely on other cards to do well. So I just think this might be like a tech tool that people have, or just a good baseline card that people play, especially if they're still playing Zabu, things like that. So I'm not too worried about it. The card that does look the most broken is the Bloodstone. And then the other ones also look decent. They look interesting though. It does seem like they are really working on having interesting designs when they're releasing cards nowadays. That seems to be a goal of theirs. So definitely you can see it here in that all the cards look interesting, have cool designs, function differently than other cards that we've had in the game. And I do wonder how it's going to function, how it's going to change, if these stay exactly the same or they adjust in some way. So that's the new cards here. Just talking about them. What are your thoughts as well? But we're also going to talk about the spotlights as well, right? Because this is what people are asking me for. They want me to go through the spotlights, and we'll do it here. I don't want to do a dedicated video right now, but I do think talking about it makes sense as well. We have the locations, not too focused on that, but I do think with the new leaderboard system, more people are playing ladder, so this can be more relevant as well. But we're skipping it. The video is already going to be too long anyway. So here we do have the spotlight for October the 2nd. So we have Thanos, X-23, and Echo. That's going to be the spotlights for the first week of the October month. I do think this is okay, right? X-23 is pretty good. Is seeing play and destroy. It hasn't really branched out of the destroy package yet. I guess it's too convoluted in terms of consistency to put it in a deck that doesn't focus on destroy. But in that destroy package, it has been pretty good, and it's pretty much a staple in all destroy decks right now. So definitely we'll see play. Thanos, decent. It did get nerfed, so people will say maybe it's not as good as it used to be, but still a pretty powerful deck. I don't really see Thanos decks right now, but I think that's maybe just a case of Loki. But I guess no, because you wouldn't get the stones from Loki since the stones don't start in your deck. That would be an interesting way to counter Loki if the stones counted, but I assume they don't. But Echo as well. So we have Thanos X-23 Echo. Echo isn't really played, but I don't think it's a bad card. It's just not seeing that much play. But can definitely see some play in a tech heavy meta, in an ongoing heavy meta. We just don't really have that right now with Loki. Loki is pretty much on reveal, so you're not really seeing it. I do think maybe in Mobius, Echo could change. So this is why I like it being much nearer in release. Then I can really tell you, oh, Echo would be really good this meta. Echo makes sense. Right now, I'm not really a big fan of this spotlight. It looks okay. X-23 might be worth your resources. Thanos, right now, But overall, I'm not really a big fan of this spotlight in particular. Next up, we have Man-Thing, Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike. I actually think this one is pretty good, personally. Silver Samurai is a card that people didn't really focus on. And then Man-Thing, Lady Deathstrike, same thing here. Lady Deathstrike was nerfed or was a 5/3 before. I wouldn't say you see a lot of Deathstrike right now, but that's generally just because Loki is really warping what the meta will look like. So it's hard to say, but I do think Lady Deathstrike is a good card right now and has some good play patterns. So I wouldn't ignore this card here. These cards are relatively new. Silver Samurai and Lady Deathstrike just came out, in my opinion, very recently. And then Man-Thing seems like a great card to add. So I guess it does matter what series they are, but I would say I'm pretty happy with this spotlight so far. This is the one I would be looking into out of the four so far. So just want to talk about it. Next up, we have Black Knight Stature Modoc. This is what people always hassle me for. But yeah, this one, well, we have 2 Series 4 cards, and then we have Black Knight. I mean, not super crazy. I think if you wanted to play with these cards, Stature and Modoc, you would have them already. So most people that are missing these cards just don't want to play with them. So I really don't think this is like the craziest spotlight to go for. It just doesn't really seem that valuable in terms of what you're getting. Black Knight, I think, is a fun card. I don't know if it's going to be super, super meta. It might be, to be honest. Like if there isn't a huge, like crazy Shang-Chi Mobius meta, well then Black Knight into Lady Civ into Ebony Blade into Ghost Rider, like that seems like a really powerful combo. So there's definitely some appeal there. But currently, my current thoughts is this probably isn't the spotlight to go for. But once again, wait for the official video, please. But that's my current thoughts. And then next one, I believe. Okay, so next one is the Nico Minoru, Kitty Pride, and Phoenix Force one. It's definitely weird seeing Kitty again, right? Because a lot of people already have Kitty, and then we have the Phoenix Force, which people just are not playing right now. So not the most enticing cards to get, right? I think Nico is, pretty hit and miss, or pretty inconsistent, I guess is the better word. But it might be consistently powerful. So I'm not sure if it's an inconsistent card, but it's pretty random, right? Inconsistent is maybe the wrong word. It's a pretty random card. And then we have Kitty Pride, which a lot of people already have. And then Phoenix Force, which is just not that great right now of a card, in my opinion. So this spotlight, once again, doesn't seem that appealing. I would say November has the best spotlight so far that I've seen. I haven't looked at the ones after this one, right? But these ones aren't super great. I will say that the variants are pretty damn good. All right, I will give it to the variant lovers. You've got great variants here. This Kitty Pride variant is very nice. However, we just went through the wedding Kitty Pride variant, right? And if you guys are like, well, I want this new one, like, how can you? Where is the love, right? You bought the wedding variant for a reason, and here you are throwing her away for the shiny new variant. How dare you? And then the Nico one is also pretty good. The Phoenix one is Dan Hip, which a lot of people do like. But it's always weird to see a Dan Hip in there just because there's supposed to be 700 gold variants, right? So seems weird for that to be a spotlight variant, in my opinion. But it is. People are buying it. It's working for them, so they're going with it. But yeah, that's the particular spotlight for this one. And the last one we do have is the Werewolf by Night section. So we have a lot of move synergy in this spotlight here. You've got the Werewolf, you've got the Silk, and you've got the Ghost Spider. So a lot of move synergy in this, and potentially could be a good one, especially because Werewolf into Ghost Spider. I guess that wouldn't work, right? Because it wouldn't work. But you could go. I guess you could go. You'd have to go Werewolf and then something else and then Ghost Spider. But then you need one empty space. But potentially you have a one cost ongoing that synergizes with move, right? And that seems pretty good for Werewolf. I'm just thinking, how would that work together? Especially with Silk in there. But there's definitely a lot of synergies going on here in terms of move, and could be pretty good. These are still pretty expensive right now, both Series 5 cards. So in a move centric gamer, I could see this doing a lot of being very valuable. But in terms of my base values, the one that jumps out to me as being like the one I would be looking for is the Man Thing, Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike one. That's the one that jumps out to me. And everything else is okay, but not like, doesn't really speak to me in terms of what I would be focusing on. Now, we'll have to see what things look like when October rolls around, but that would be my current evaluations of the spotlights in the Datamines. Now, you can see that we're only during October, we're already hitting 25 minutes. But yeah, maybe tomorrow I think we'll cover November as well, so that we have the full range, so that the people that wanted have it here. But hope you guys enjoy this one. Hope this made sense. What are your thoughts on some of the cards? Do you like Nico? Do you like Black Knight? Do you like Man Thing? Yeah, what are you going for? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Educated calling snap. Once you watch him, you won't go back. He'll teach you tomorrow, snap. Your skills will be improving. How you doing? You'll hit infinity and won't go back. Educated calling snap.
Ah, yes. Hello. Okay, final thing. If you still haven't gotten the Loki season pass and you want it, add me on Discord or message me on Discord. Write the secret phrase and let me know, and I'll give it to you. First come, first serve, that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go.